Michelle, would you be able to put up the agenda for me, please? Or is it, who has host and do this?
Manshu, will you? Thank you, Manshu, for notifying us that we've gone live. We're now just awaiting the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll repeat because we're live and would love to have our parents in our ear and understanding our meeting. My name is Sharon Grant. I'm co-chair of PIAC, and my other co-chair is Zena Sherrick. Welcome to our February 20, 2024 general meeting. And I just want to just double check again. Membership, Janice, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And Manchu, would you be able to go to number 2? We acknowledge, if you're able to stand, please do so. We acknowledge we're hosted on lands of the Mississauga of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Thank you. We just want to go over the code of conduct. Just in that we're all here as parents, guardian, caregivers, and staff to when we speak, we be courteous to each other, give everyone a chance to speak, be respectful, and that so that our meeting can go as productive and as seamless as possible. So our meeting announcement. I would like to know if there's a conflict of interest that would like to be, anyone would like to bring forward? Any conflict of interest in our PIAC reps? Or any change in membership status? Okay, I would like someone to motion the approval of the consent agenda for January 9th.
I'll put forward the motion, Janice, Ward 11.
Thank you. And anyone to second?
Yusuf, Ward 15.
Thank you. Motion passed, carried. So Manchu, would you be able to push it up a little bit to make sure 3, 4, 5, so I could, okay, further up, okay, until I can see 3, 4, second page. All right, okay. So I'm going to be going through the PIAC co-chair report, and I just wanted to welcome everyone back and hopefully had a festive and wonderful and well rested family day weekend. This is when we need it, and just to rest and relax with our family, it's appreciated. February is African Heritage Month, and during the month of February, the TDSB proudly recognizes African heritage, which is Black History Month. And it's an occasion to celebrate the many achievements and contribution of people of the African descent to Canada and the world. This year, TDSB celebrates African Heritage Black History Month with the theme, Our Black Is. TDSB also proudly recognizes Chinese Heritage Month for the month of February as well. This year is the Year of the Dragon, majesty, brilliance, confidence, and leadership. We also want to acknowledge and recognize that during the month of January, it was Tamil Heritage Month. And TDSB also proudly recognizes the Tamil Heritage Month. And this year, the theme of Tamil Heritage Month is Tamilicious, which is Tamils and food, past, present, and future. We also, Zian and I proudly represented TDSB at with the Ministry of Education as PIC co-chairs. This meeting is specifically for the co-chairs of the board parent involvement committees across the province. The names and contact of the PIC co-chairs were provided by the boards to the ministry. So each board provided their names, and then they outreached, and they were having a meeting with us. At high level, the topic spoken about at the meeting with the ministry was the Better School and Student Outcome Act 2023. and the board student achievement plan, which is part of the Education Act, select section 169.2 of the Ontario Regulation 224/23. Also mentioned was the inclusion of mandatory mental health modules that are now being taught in grades 7 and 8 as part of the health and physical education curriculum as part of the PPM 169 student mental health. Information was also shared about the PPM 151 PA Day transparency. A new document has been created by the Safe and Healthy School branch called Bullying. We can all help stop it. So again, this will be also on our co-chair's report. We're also having a mental health and well-being committee PIAC liaison rep vacancy. So PIAC is looking for a PIAC ward rep to take on the role of PIAC liaison to the TDSB Parent as Partners Mental Health and Well-being Committee. This role would require a PIAC ward rep to attend the TDSB Parent as Partners Mental Health and Wellbeing Committee meetings and share what that committee is doing at our monthly PIAC meetings. So we're going to have that as one of our agenda item each month. This would be a 1-year commitment, and this for the 2023-2024 school year. Any PIAC ward rep who's interested, please contact co-chair Zena and Sharon. This is we would like to also thank all the members, PIAC members, staff, parent, guardian, caregivers, student volunteer for an amazing student school council empowerment conference. It was a great success, and without you, it could not go. We had school representation from all 22 wards, which is amazing. So we had a voice at the table from every ward. We thank you for your, we would like to also give a special thank you to the Special Events Working Group led by Nadia of Ward 22 for your hard work to ensure that we launch our annual conference for the 2023-2024 school year, which was held on Saturday, February 3rd, 2024 at Earl Hague. And we also had, the conference was well supported in the background by our TDSB staff for the PCCO. Thank you, Michelle, and your team. It's also important that we support our annual conference, which gives us the opportunity to continue the outreach by letting our TDSB school councils and school community know about us and the work that we do to support, encourage, and enhance parent engagement at the board level in order to improve student achievement and well-being. The conference actually inspired parents to continue the advocacy through their school council in order to continue to improve student achievement and well-being within their school. The working group meeting schedule was sent out, and I'm not going to go through a lot, but I just wanted to encourage all our PIAC co-reps. That's one of the things that when we committed, when we were voted in at our ward level, we committed to, that's part of the commitment, is to be part of at least one working group, because that's where the work is done. And then we come at the general meeting just to go through the administrative process to get things either motion passed or to provide some update to our general group, because not everyone can be in every working group. So, we've split it up. Some go to some working groups, some go to others, and then we come back to the general meeting and then we update each other. Without you being in a working group, there's silence, and we can't have the silence, because then we need to have this work done, and we need to have everyone involved, because the more we get involved is the more we see what happens at the ground at our ward level, and then you can have the information, provide information, also receive information. It's very hard for one person who's also a parent to be 3-4 different working group and not have enough membership there. So we're encouraging and we're asking. We have a strong membership, 38 co-reps. Please, I'm asking that you provide at least one support from one of the working groups, so that you can help have your voice at the table, and you're also representing your ward the way they're expecting you to. Thank you. The other thing is, during the meeting, during that conference, we had some, I'm very proud to say we had some parents who were willing parents within the community that can join our non-governance working group. And a few parents reached out and signed up and said that they were willing to come and join our governance working group. So I would like our, as usual, our co-reps, our PIAC reps and our co-leads to welcome them and reach out, and don't want to lose them because they showed that interest, and it will be good to provide capacity to our membership, that perhaps maybe one day that parent could be the next PIAC rep, co-rep at the table, or even a co-chair. So I'm hoping that each of our members can, you know, provide some welcome to them and ensure that that they get all the communication and that they feel that they're part of that conversation. And those are the relevant things I'd like to say. And I'd like to ask Co-Chair Sherrick if she has anything else that she'd like to add that I may have missed.
No, Sharon, you were incredibly thorough, and I think it just gives everyone a snapshot. Of course, we have our report. If anyone has any questions, contact us. Education, they did promise us a presentation of what the slide deck, which we then have and we can share once we get it. So we haven't gotten it yet. Keep you posted on that. And I see a question from Lisa.
Hi, Sharon. You just mentioned about some parents signed up for the governance working group.
Non-governance.
Non-governance. Okay. Could you share those parents' contact or details with the ward co-reps, so they can contact, like if they are from my ward, then I would like to, you know, contact and support them.
Okay, so what we could do is, yeah, no problem. So what we can do is we're gonna have them, I think Zena or Janice could confirm, but they fill out the Google form. Once they're within each working group, then I'm gonna ask the working group leads to ask them if they're okay, and then we could let you know what working group they're in, and then maybe that ward rep can join that day, or we can figure out a way how to get that message out. We're gonna let the parents know that their ward rep is reaching out to them, and within that working group they'll be able to respond. Co-leads, please just double check to see what school or what ward that parent is from. So that's good. We can have a little competition and see which ward can have the most parents or community member. Also, community member can join as well. Okay, so sometimes we have some skill sets within each of the community members, community or parents that could help us at the table within our working group. You know, it could be IT, could be something, right? So it'd be nice to have these parents there, and then they could help supporters as well, right? So, but thank you, I appreciate that. So co-leads, that would be consultation and or school council. I think are the two non-governance working groups, and special events, yeah. And special events and communication.
Actually, one item, I apologize, one more thing to ask to add to the report and involves working groups is actually if we can ask working group co-leads if they can to make sure they're putting their reports or documents in the Google Drive. Sort of creates more transparency and also allows more sharing of information between co-leads, so you sort of know what's going on in your working group.
Okay, thank you. Manju, would you be able to go to number 4, please? Okay, trustee reports. So Trustee Dudavitas is not here, so we have Trustee McLean, who's always at our meetings, but as a guest. But now he is one of our trustees that can kind of help support us. Go ahead, Mr. Trustee McLean, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I was led to understand that Trustee Dudavitas had sent a written report, and that.
Yeah. Okay. But I also want to give you the opportunity to say something.
Yeah, no, I visited I went to the David Earl Hague conference, and I just want to thank all the volunteers and everybody who worked. And it was a great day of learning, and a number of the parents talked to me, and they had a great time, and that they learned a lot. So congratulations to all the organizers.
Thank you. Thank you. And Michelle, were you able to send through the trustee Dudovita's his report is here on, and were you able to send that out as yet, or?
Through you, Chair, everything has been sent, yes.
Okay then. Okay, so just give have a look, peruse on there, and if you have any questions, I can't see more. So it has the budget process that's happening right now, and virtual town hall that's coming up, virtual town hall consultation. Go ahead, Trustee McLean. I think it's, you go ahead. You can read through it. If you're so pleased. No.
Sorry, I just, yeah, I think it's just easier if people review that on their own time and to,
Okay.
yeah, I haven't read this. I haven't seen it in
That's okay.
advance. So,
No problem. Not putting you on the spot. Not putting you on the spot. Okay, so if you can go ahead and read, and then if there's anything, because you know all the trustees you knows what's happening. So, is there anything specific that you'd like to ask Trustee McLean, or he's here as a support? But you know, it's basically, you know, budget. It's mostly about the budget and you know, some revitalization that's happening. So.
yeah, one of the budget meetings is going on as we speak, actually. One of the two budget town halls is currently, so that's ongoing, and there'll be a second for everyone tonight that doesn't get to see it. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Can we go to, oh, there's a question. Go ahead, Michelle, and then Andrew.
Through you, Chair, I was just inquiring as to whether the committee has considered or will be considering providing some input or feedback into the board's budget process.
Consultation, have we, I'll put it through the consultation that we should be able to, but I'll talk to Coley's a consultation. That's Kadeen and Sarah, I think.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just leave it with the consultation committee for their consideration.
Okay. Okay.
I do believe I see a hand from Andrew.
Yes, I was just trying to think that we will, that's something definitely is very important that we'll talk to the co-leads to see that how we can get our input on that. Thank you. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yes, actually, I'm glad that you indicated that. Yeah, this budget consultation process is, I think, very important, and I think PIAC can have a strong voice in it. And I personally will be attending the town hall tomorrow, and I would encourage as many people as possible to attend it tomorrow. There are a lot of very important discussions that are occurring, and will have impacts into next year around the allocation of resources. But I also think, and I'm glad Sharon, you'll reach out to Katie and Sarah, that this should be a topic of discussion at the next consultation working group.
Okay. Thank you. The only thing I'm noticing though, if we could go back, and I'll talk to Trustee McLean to speak to the group and Trustee DeVitas, or maybe it's executives, the time. Sometimes this consultation, I know I'll be virtual. It's really 1:30 during the day. I know it's 7 p.m. today, which is a conflict, but 1:30 sometimes we do. A lot of our parents have other commitment, especially work commitment, and may not even have their lunchtime at that time too. Is there another one that could be in the evening, or this is the only two?
Well, I think they tried to do, through the chair, I think they tried to do one in the evening and one during the daytime to keep in mind that everybody isn't available at the same time and may have a conflict. I believe they're taped so that people can, you may not be able to ask questions, but you could certainly watch them and then see the questions that are asked and benefit from that. And then there will be an opportunity. The trustees quite often will get together in their local wards or get together in groups, in smaller groups, and have local ward forums when we get it a little more defined, and then have a member of staff come out. We've done that in the past.
Okay.
So as this process plays out, I think there'll be additional opportunities, but it's not my understanding that there's a third town hall planned at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Unless we can get maybe a private session with the consultation, yeah, if it's required. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Andrew, is it a legacy hand or is another? Okay. Can we go to 5, please? Okay, 5 is senior staff update. I would put it to Executive Superintendent Uton Robinson, Dr. Robinson, Uton Robinson, and Executive Superintendent Chan. Go ahead and.
Thank you, Chair Sharon. We are pleased to introduce a presentation today by 2 of our senior staff members. As is in the agenda, our update through Dr. Robinson and myself will be a little bit later in the agenda, but we do have a presentation followed by some questions for our guests. I'd like to introduce System Superintendents Denise Humphreys and Lisa Dilworth. They are System Superintendents for Instruction, Innovation, and Equitable Outcomes, and today they're presenting on the TDSB Math Achievement Action Plan. So they may need to share, have share access, but I will throw it over to Denise and Lisa for this presentation. Thank you so much.
Yes, we will need share access, please, if we don't have it already. And it's just going to take us a second to get this up on the screen for you. I'm Lisa Dilworth. As you hear, I'm one half of a superintendent team that is responsible for mathematics. My partner is Denise Humphreys. And I will just
hello everyone, good evening.
Screen up and
we may need to stop sharing the agenda in order for something new to be shared.
Okay, Manshu.
It's okay. It's letting me do it. I just shut down whoever was going. So it's all good. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone. We're glad to be here for this brief presentation to give you an overview of our TDSB Math Achievement Action Plan. And Lisa, do you mind sharing slideshow?
I did. Is it not sharing?
Just at the top. Yeah, we can see the side panel.
Oh, I see. In slideshow mode. Pardon me. Sorry, it was
in slideshow mode.
Thank you. All right, here we go. There you go.
Thank you. And next slide, please. So last year in June, the Ministry of Education had presented a new bill called Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, which requires boards to report on key performance indicators in mathematics and literacy. It's very well publicized, and many parents and community members, as well as educators, probably remember hearing information around back to the basics. Our Math Achievement Action Plan supports actions system-wide, school-wide, and in the classroom to support better outcomes for students regarding math achievement. There are 3 priorities, and the priorities in our Math Achievement Action Plan are up on the screen. The first one is ensuring fidelity of curriculum implementation, which means we are faithful to the curriculum, that we support the appropriate curriculum expectations at each grade level. The next one, which you'll see in green, is knowledge for teaching. And that speaks to the professional learning we provide system-wide for our educators. And our third pillar is knowing the mathematics learner and ensuring mathematical tasks, interventions, and supports are relevant and responsive for our students. Next slide, please. The ministry has identified schools according to EQAO indicators that will be our priority or math learning partnership schools. The grades, which are target grades, are grade 3, 6, and 9. These grades are chosen because these are the grades that participate in the province-wide EQAO testing each year. Schools that are identified as a ministry are given extra supports through our math learning partners, who are our coaches who provide professional learning and job-embedded learning in the classrooms in these target grades. Even though our math learning partnership schools get our job-embedded learning, all schools are able to access learning throughout the system on our math content areas. Our professional learning goes throughout the year. In the fall, we've had sessions, and we've also had sessions which started in February until May for our educators to support their mathematics content learning. And Lisa, I'll turn it over to you.
So as you can see, these are some examples of the centralized content learning that has been going on in TDSB this year. We have had opportunities to focus the learning on the early years. So we have an offering called Building Foundational Math Skills in the Early Years. And teachers and principals who are focusing on grades K to 3 have been able to attend that. We have had a very large turnout to Building Thinking Classrooms in Mathematics, which is based on the research of Peter Liljedahl. And that has been offered to grades 3 to 12. Grade 9s have had the opportunity, the teachers have had the opportunity to engage in learning around spiraling coding. And lastly, Denise and I can both speak to the wonderful session we attended today on unlocking fractions. And that is, really delving into fractions learning for teachers so they can really do a lot of good hands-on learning for students around fractions. And that is for grades 4 to 10. So that's our junior division up to grade 10. And it was a wonderful session today. Another offering that we've put into play this year as a part of our math strategy is administrator learning. Part of the work that is being done is that administrators are working on really developing themselves as instructional leaders, but also being able to tie their school improvement plans. And I know a lot of you are probably on school councils, so you're very well aware of how school improvement planning works, but being able to really tie in meaningful goals and being able to monitor it through some of the work that's happening in their classrooms. And technology has brought us a plethora of different ways that we can now access data. So we're not just looking at tests and written assignments. We can be really delving into how students think. So these pictures are pictures of principals working at 2 different locations and learning about how they can support the learning around math in their schools. As we mentioned earlier, everything kind of starts with the Ontario Mathematics curriculum, which has been updated in 2020. And we're very keen on ensuring that we are following that. They've just recently done an update to the math curriculum for grades 1 to 8, and it's already been in place in grade 9 to provide really rich resourcing for teachers. So we are leveraging that as well to support teachers in their work and ensuring that all of our students are learning mathematics. Denise?
Our student achievement goals also link to our overall board school improvement goals. And these have to do with the outcomes for students who are historically underserved. Groups that we identify in our board due to data are students who identify as Black, students who identify as Indigenous, and we speak to the work through equitable and anti-oppressive lens and using culturally relevant teaching to support students. The second piece in our pillar has to do with supporting students with academic grade 9 and 10 mathematics courses. Students used to be streamed in these two grades as a province and within our board, and having an academic outcomes allows for pathways that lead to different options for students to support their future careers. And of course, providing students with opportunities supported by technology and leading them to strengthen their global competencies and future goals. Next slide. Math Back to the Basics speaks to having students become efficient in their strategies, honoring the different ways we learn in different cultures and communities, but also supporting the continuum of their development through different strategies. There is a part of our curriculum that speaks to knowing mental math, but it's also important for students to know their math facts and also have sophisticated strategies as they move through the grades and different developmental stages. Next slide. Lisa, do you want to speak to this?
Sure. So as a part of our plan, we are really trying to be very clear and focused in being highly descriptive about what we're doing and precise in what we want to see change, and eventually we want to see who is better off. And so if you were to read the appendices or the last part of our plan, you would see that it's broken down with those exact questions there. We really want to focus on student mathematical thinking. We want students to feel positive and confident in learning about math. As I mentioned earlier, the type of data we can collect now, although products are very important, and when I say products, I'm talking about tests, written assignments. We also are able to, through technology, capture observations and use them as data. And today, actually, in a session we were able to actually take what would be considered maybe more of a student conversation around a bigger problem, and actually be able to put that on a rubric and grade it based on looking for the key ideas in mathematics. So we're really looking at being balanced in our approach to assessment. And again, keeping in mind, the student as an individual and their learning profile, as well as the strengths that they bring culturally and from their lived experiences. And then obviously, the outcome for education for everyone is we want citizens who are aware, who are critical thinkers, and who can really navigate the world in a way where they are able to utilize, and a good example here would be their financial know-how to be able to be consumers in a way that is critical and that is knowledgeable. So that would be one example, but obviously it can extend to them as scientists. It can extend into many different other areas of their development as critical thinkers. The TDSB has also a large number of virtual math tools, or digital tools as we sometimes call them. There's a list of them here. You actually, with your child, have access to a number of these tools through the board website. I believe this QR code probably takes you to this page. Whoops, sorry, I just managed to move us forward. Today we were using this particular tool here called Braining Camp, and it is just a bunch of virtual manipulatives. So as we get better at using manipulatives with students in class, and today the manipulative we were using was just simple paper folding, actually. But as we know, there are all sorts of different other types of manipulatives, like geoboards. Many people do not have them in their homes, but a student could access manipulatives through Braining Camp and utilize them at home. It also stretches the availability of manipulatives in a school. So all of these different applications have a use within the math program. Some of them, TVO has quite a few home-based math programs, including one that involves some math tutoring. However, I do believe you have a limited number of questions you can ask. I think that is through Mathify. But there's lots of interesting games and different activities. This is a coding app that you have access to through the TDSB website as parents. Denise, would you like to go
And finally, we do have a website that we are in the process of updating for parents for resources at home. It's really helpful to us as parents and grandparents to be able to go on these links and support our students through the online tutoring and to support and see the math. The other piece that we've spoken to is the Ontario curriculum, which speaks to the expectations and skills from grades 1 through to high school that students need in mathematics. So please do visit our website as well. And we will give a digital copy of the slides to PIAC representatives.
One other thing that's not on here that is worth mentioning is that there has been about a week ago, there was a math evening, a family math night that was put out to the system, to all the families, and we will send you the link to the part 2 of that. We had over 600 families participate, and it was very hands-on. It was lots of fun. The kids were on camera. It really is kind of aimed at parents learning what's going on and learning about how math is being taught, but the kids got right into it. There were breakout rooms for the various different age groups of students that you have. So you could go to a K-3 breakout room, 4 to 8 breakout room, or a secondary breakout room, and the learning there was really rich. So I believe it's the first week of March, but I will find the exact date for you and we will send that to you as well. So that's another wonderful opportunity that our community service worker, Donna Cardoza, and a team of people that she has brought together have put on, and it was a wonderful evening. Just to finish up, the teachers so far in the sessions that we've been having have responded very positively to the work. So one of the KPIs, so that we have to monitor our work and provide reports to the ministry. And one of the pieces that we report on is teachers' sense of confidence and efficacy, their ability to feel like they can teach effectively. And we are receiving some really positive feedback from these sessions. And also because the people that teach these sessions are also the math learning partners that are in the schools that are math partnership schools, they're able to help implement the work there. So the comments, as you can see on the screen, have been quite positive. We really want to create exciting, enriching, but very we want to have the math to have rigor and to be effective for student learning and for them as adults growing up. So we're working very, very hard to move and to enrich ourselves in that direction. So with that, we're open to any questions. Sharon Grant.
Yeah, Zena, would I be able to turn over the co-chair to you?
Absolutely.
I'll stop.
Okay, thanks. So we just wanted to ask, I appreciate your presentation, and good seeing you again, Miss Humphreys. Good seeing you.
Hello.
Hi. And I just wanted to ask though, I'm happy that we're doing this, but how is it that you can get more specific to helping parents, guardian caregivers at home in this plan? I know that you say you have, that Zoom working group session, but how can we kind of get it back to like back to basic to the home schools? How do we, and the home parents, what can we do as a board, or what's the plan to get it more local, and how would you encourage that? What's the plan for that?
So one of the pieces from a system level, as we know, we have the family math nights, the first one that happened last month or this month, and the next one that's happening, I think, March 7th, which had 600 parents. We also, Lisa, myself, Jason Toe from the math team, have visited at least 4 ward forums and 2 joint ward forums to support some of the work there. But principals and teachers in schools at times have different ways to engage parents. They might do family math and literacy nights. So it's really important as school councils to speak to your local community about the ways parents want to be engaged. School councils are very powerful in terms of giving parent voice in the school and speaking to the needs of parents. We are also going to be giving out, sending out newsletters as part of TDSB Connects with resources that parents can access. So look out for those emails coming in the spring.
And just to add on, as was mentioned earlier, we are working on kind of retooling our website. So certainly any suggestions that you have, we're really interested in terms of what parents need. I raised 5 children in total, and I know how challenging it can be when they bring home all that homework and you're looking at it and you're not sure, and you start doing it the best you can, and your child goes, "I'm supposed to do it." So definitely, we know there's a lot of work that we want to do in terms of a central approach as well. But I was at a school that was having a family math night about a week back. So there are schools that are doing in-person math work with parents.
Is it Jun Zhang? And please correct me if I pronounce your name wrong.
Yeah, you can call me June. Yeah.
June.
Yeah, I just shared some of my impression about the math program here as a parent. And we all know that actually language and math are 2 fundamental programs in our life, like throughout the early age to high school. Basic reason I think that math established logic thinking. So my daughter's already in grade 11, and I came from China, so we have totally different system of learning math. And to me, like I found the strength of the math learning here, that is, it just promotes the how can I put it? It's like more creative and more practical. That means when someone really mastered all those mathematical skills, they know how to apply that into real life in every area. But for most people, actually, if they want to, we all know that after when we work in real life, we don't really need those math concepts. But what we get from that is the thinking skill. So based on my understanding, also, by the way, I'm a certified Montessori teacher. So for 2.5 to 6. So at first, I think that it's different in the public system, that they just mixed all the math concepts in the, one teacher teaches all subjects in the classroom. And also even in Montessori, we do that too. But the separation is quite clear. And actually even Montessori way is like, it's a Western approach, but it has the same, to me, like personally, I think they have the same approach as the way we learn math in China. That what I'm trying to put it is that the foundation is quite solid, not like the math learning now for early ages. As my daughter, for example, if later she enters the middle school and high school, they have different teachers teach different subjects. But in elementary school, it really depends on the teachers. We are lucky we have great teachers, but as a whole, I don't see, just my personal opinion, there's a very systematical learning in the public system. Like, for example, even in the Montessori way, they have very, step by step, starting from the very basic ones, but not using our Chinese way, like what maybe everyone thinks that, oh, we do questions, we practice a lot. Yes, that's our way. But the practice we can use, like, for example, for early ages, they need more experience with math concepts. So this is what Montessori actually just put all the, what we call the materialized abstraction. So they just use all the materials. Like I can see some of the math teachers in early ages, they do that too. Then starting from the very basic numbers from the 1 to 10, then decimal systems and the other things, I don't want to elaborate for that. But it kind of like by the end of the you know, the CASA age, that means age, 6. Actually, they can do the math, like the addition, those kind of like the operation. They can get addition or subtraction like to 4 digits. And the 10 tables, if they can manipulate all the materials, basically most of children, they can memorize all the timetable. But if in the public system, actually, even for some children till grade 3 or 4, they don't even know how.
Sorry, June, I apologize, but are you able to just because we're running,
Oh,
I'm trying
okay,
to honor the
sorry.
time.
I just
Okay,
put it,
sorry about that.
sorry, I just put it quickly into 2 minutes. So it's kind of, to me, I think the more practical is starting from the very beginning to establish a solid foundation. And the second thing, I do think we need to think about the online game thing, because we can see a lot of attention programs now in the students. So basically, if we expose too much to screen, especially at early ages, and all of the assignments and the things on the online, it kind of have long-term impact, either both on learning and the attention problem. So this is, I think, related to the whole math, what I can see here. So this is maybe not only my personal impression from our children's math learning experience, and also I think maybe we can have a think of that. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, apologize for having
Thank you. Our kindergarten curriculum speaks to explicit skills in math and a continuum of learning with principles of counting. And we really emphasize in the early years use of hands-on manipulatives to support student learning, which is appropriate developmentally with students. So although we do have certain grades where we are sharing digital tools, it is not everything, and it's not meant to be the bulk of the learning. Students learn best by having actual concrete materials in front of them yet in developmentally appropriate ways according to the math concepts and big ideas. So thank you for your points. We really always encourage you to continue to have conversations with your child's teacher to see how they're supporting the work in the classroom.
Okay, sorry, just one quick comment. Yeah, I can see that they just try to use materials to understand use concrete materials to understand. What I'm trying to say is that better it have a system to do that, not like randomly. It's not about sorry. I think maybe sometimes we just connect with the consultation group or school council to give a more detailed feedback from the parents. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Sorry, Zena, can I take back the
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. So before that's a good point. What I'm gonna encourage is consultation team. This is a good segue for invitation for this team, and see what we can do, especially with June being there and other parents to have more a longer discussion. And then Musa, go ahead, Bruce.
Yes, great points, June. Thank you. My question is simple. I just want to be able to put a blurb in the school council minutes upcoming. So I have to submit those, I think, by Wednesday. Is there any link or anything you can place here that I can put on those minutes? It's a high school that I'm on the school council for, and also the other school councils in our ward. But this one more time sensitive. Thank you.
Are you asking about something like the family math night that we talked about?
Absolutely, and also the development you mentioned about for the grade 10 and 11 math curriculum, and tools to help with that. I can just put something so that I can, spend 5 minutes at our meeting talking about that. It's a high school I'm with, so.
Okay, if you want to send us through your email, then we can get some materials to you.
Thank you very much.
So for any materials going to our PIAC, can you please go through the PCCO, go to Michelle, and she'll forward it to the appropriate group. maybe even to the entire system.
Yep.
But it's a little bit time sensitive for him, so if you can, tomorrow morning or tonight, I don't know. Okay, thanks. Ward 19, Musa, go ahead.
Hi. In the high schools, I have seen a lot of students failing math, and they feel that their teachers sometimes are not teaching them properly. I even found out at one of the high schools in my ward that it's a basketball and a music teacher was appointed to teach math to grade 10 students, and they couldn't understand anything. They had a huge number of students failing that class of math, and nothing was done about it, although the students went to the principal and they complained about it, but nothing was done. And I think there is not enough help for students who are failing math in high schools, and something needs to be done in terms of the teachers to check their qualifications if they're properly qualified to teach math or no. Because as higher it goes, it gets more complicated, and students who are already low on math, it's really hard for them to catch on.
And you said this was grade 10 math that students were struggling with?
That was last year. Yeah, and then I believe it was addressed. I'm not sure because my daughter moved to grade 11, and this was in her class that happened.
Yeah. So, my understanding is that in secondary, they do their very best to find a math qualified person to teach mathematics. So that is something you would have to talk to the principal of that school about. But in terms of the grade 9 math, there is a new grade 9 curriculum. And one thing that we are really working diligently at is ensuring that teachers are following that, because that particular curriculum leads to the grade 10 program. But we're also engaging secondary schools. We had a secondary math symposium with teachers and principals, and we did quite a bit of work with them around ensuring that they are engaging students, but also that they are teaching in a way that is preparing them to go forward into the upper grades. A lot of schools were there. I'm not sure if your school attended that, but it is something that is on our radar, and we do appreciate you restating that. And it's something that is probably best discussed with the principal in that particular situation.
I discussed that with the principal last year. I was the council chair as well.
Okay.
And it was a major issue. I did discuss it with the principal. But again, with my daughter too, she is low on math, and the help she's getting, it's not helpful for her. So what I am sensing is that students who are going down on math, I don't think they have enough help.
There are
Okay.
sorry.
So sorry. Can I just step in here? I know you're gonna the question, but I'm going to, as a co-chair, address that after Nicole Musa. I'll address it. What your question is, that I can hear your pain and I understand it. Gina and I was we're gonna address it to the executive superintendents. So can you give me an opportunity to address it after Nicole?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, it's just a follow-up on basically what everybody has been saying regarding the decline of our children's math. And it has been this way since COVID. And because they were home, and I think most teachers will see and most principals will see the decline in the math in all students across the board, elementary school and high school. I've spoken to a lot of actual high school math teachers who are saying that their students are having a hard time. I know my own personal child is also having a hard time. He's in elementary school, grade 8. And I've had to get outside tutors for him. So, I mean, it's my question or query is it possible to expect the board to make any actual adjustments to the curriculum based on what has happened and what the children have gone through in the past 2 years? Because it's one thing to offer the additional supports like the tutoring program, but what I'm finding is there are no children that want to attend those programs. A lot of the children in the schools, they don't want to attend the tutoring programs. Learning is also very social, and I don't know, a lot of them don't want to be singled out, and they don't want to attend those tutoring programs after hours, or they don't want to be singled out to be in need of that additional help. And there is only so much that the teachers can do if they're being required to teach the exact same curriculum at the same pace. So, I mean, it's a big question, but there has been a change for these students that are currently in elementary school and high school, yet they're having to keep pace as if there was not anything that affected them, which is why they're falling behind. So I really don't know what can be done, but I think if they're just expected to keep on track as if nothing did happen, they will fall off.
So the curriculum is a ministry mandated document. We have zero latitude with whether we follow it or not. So it isn't something that we get to opt out of. That being said, definitely, you know, COVID and the interruptions have had an impact on students. And we're really working hard. We're looking at approaches that are, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, developmental in nature, that meet children where they're at and actually bring them up. And without going through every expectation, we're able to developmentally move them forward. So they are covering the expected outcomes. And it's much more individualized. So, you know, when you look at the offerings that we have around the early years, it's a very, very structured developmental approach, to get back to June's question. If you look at the fractions work that we were doing today, again, it's very, you know, teachers can assess students and see where they're at and enter at that point and help move them up. But these are approaches that are relatively new that we're working really hard with teachers to implement to support students. And they do align with the curriculum. So it's that's the approach that we're taking. And the teachers are getting quite a bit of in-service. Again, speak to your school, find out what learning the teachers are availing themselves of. But there is support out there, and we are doing the work because we do recognize that times have changed.
Thank you. Before I go to Susan, I just wanted to, Zena, can you take over the chair? Just put it out there to the executive superintendent. This is a huge problem, and also our trustee. I don't want to put her on the spot, but this is sort of the overseer, so to speak. But it's a huge problem for us as parents. Again, wards where what we're observing is that you are connecting with the kindergartens, but they just started school, so they have not felt anything. So this is going to be a new way for them. They don't have any history prior to starting their, you know, age 4 coming into school, or age 3+. And then you have the grade 10s who were hit hard. Grade 10, 11 were hit hard with interruption to their learning, and also the grade 6s. So grade 6 and up. So what is the board? And I'm gonna ask, you can bring it back. We need concrete process. What is it that you're going to do to help support that? Because right now, that's the gray area, and that's the ones that are left out. The grade 3s, they were part of the COVID. They were the kindergarten into COVID. But what about the grade 6, 7, 8, and up? What is the board? And I'm Executive Superintendent Robinson and Chan. What is the board going to do? Something has to be done. to help support these youths, because now they're left behind, and there's no child should be left behind, and these children are being left behind. And we can't just say hope until they graduate out, and then we worry about the younger ones. We need them to be future citizens and parents to the board, right? To say, you know what, I enjoyed my school year. I was able to get help. I'm happy. I can move on to my post-secondary feeling solid about my courses, especially math, or even workforce. So what is it the board's going to do? We need to do something. This is a cry from the parents to help support these youths, because it's not fair that they're left behind. Okay. Executive Superintendent Robinson.
Again, good evening, everyone, and thanks for the question, Sharon. I believe that both Denise and Lisa has outlined some of the things that we're certainly doing as a board to address the issues in terms of helping students that are, to your point, within the junior through to the high school ages. Resources are certainly being presented and provided. In addition to that, professional development learning from teachers, and obviously giving students an opportunity to learn differently, as was expressed earlier on within the presentation. I think to your point, though, Sharon, this is an ongoing work. And we need to continue to stay at it, to have open mindsets and make sure that we're engaging students in a positive way. To the point that was raised earlier on in terms of looking at our tutoring sessions to ensure that these are places of learning that students are wanting to lean into and are not feeling in any way stigmatized as a result of wanting the help. So all of this is ongoing work, and we want to obviously partner with parents and caregivers in order to move our students forward. And I know that periodically there will be updates as to how our students are doing. I'll yield at this point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Trustee McLean, I'll take Zena.
Yeah, thank you, and through the chair. Yeah, I think the pandemic definitely created learning gaps, and we're constantly trying to deal with that. I know that there's big transformations in what's going on in math. I had Jason Toe out to do a ward forum for me, and he brought the whiteboards and talked about collaborative learning. So I guess I'd like to ask one of the math leads if they could talk a little bit about the introduction of the whiteboard boards and the pivot, I guess, a little bit into more collaborative learning of math and not being as isolated, and trying to have the students engage in a more fun and interesting way, so that they get to learn what they're and apply what they're learning in a meaningful way, so it stays with them better.
So as we've mentioned, we're doing 4 different professional learning opportunities with educators. So far, up to the winter, we've had 818 elementary and secondary teachers engage in 4-day professional learning sessions, and there's some job embedded learning in between. The use of the whiteboards and vertical surfaces where students are collaborating and thinking around math is one of the teaching approaches that help with student engagement, help with their learning skills and work habits, where math thinking becomes visible, they're learning and thinking together. It's not done all the time in all classrooms, but we have to find ways to engage students who are interpersonal, who like to be social, and to know that math isn't something you're doing by yourself with a textbook and a pencil and paper. But our content also speaks to understanding the developmental math processes and math content areas. So understanding the math itself is really important. And the professional learning offerings that we are giving support the curriculum outcomes, but also support spiraling and scaffolding the learning over time. So students, throughout the grades and throughout the years continue to come back to the same processes so that they can practice, consolidate, and also really become proficient in their learning over time. So it's not that we teach something for a 2-week period and it's done. We continue to come back to it as educators. And that's what the learning is about for the educators in the school. And when principals are able to support their teachers in going to these professional learning sessions, it's really important for all involved. And it's going to support the work going forward. I know there was a comment about elementary teachers. The Ontario College of Teachers supports the type of qualifications teachers have. And at elementary teachers have their Bachelor of Education, and they are considered generalists. We have additional qualification offerings to support more qualifications for teachers to specifically learn math. So those are just some of the pieces that we're working on as a system. And as Lisa said, secondary teachers have their math qualifications in order to teach math.
Thank you. I'm going to do 2 more, Ward 12 and Ward 15, and then we have to move on. We're running out of time. We're at 8:09, and we have to try to see if we can actually end on time. So Susan, I know you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead, and then Yusuf.
Sorry. It's just a recommendation, or I don't know, a suggestion, but being the biggest school board in all of Ontario, I'm wondering if there can be a pushback back to the Ministry of Ed to lower the class sizes for high school, because I think in theory, everyone can do math is a great and amazing concept. And I've heard Jason Toe speak about his, the way he wants to envision math being taught, that no one is left out. But in order for that to work, the class sizes must be small. They cannot be the sizes that they are right now. If they're currently that size, teachers just teach to those who are extremely struggling or to the top level class, but it's the kids who just kind of, who are in the 60s and 70s, they're just passed over because you're still doing well enough in the teacher's eyes. I feel like that unless the ministry lowers the size of the classes, we can't see that improvement for students who are struggling. The teachers won't be able to focus as much as they should be focusing on kids who really just need that extra attention or that extra care to do well in math. And I think the theory is great, but the actual reality of the sizes of the class is horrendous. It's unacceptable. And I understand that elementary teachers are generalists and they should be able to teach all things, but that doesn't mean that they teach it well. I had my son when he was in grade 3, his teacher was more into art than math. And he's actually really good in math and did well in high school math. But in grade 3, he really thought he was dumb because he couldn't draw what the teacher wanted for the diagrams for the math. And then he lost many marks because of those diagrams. And then it was not until grade 4 where he had another teacher and he realized, oh, I'm actually really good at math. So, I think that's why math should be taught by math specialists, if we are going to put such great emphasis on math.
Thank you. Yusuf?
Yeah, sure. I want to add on this math issue going on. And I heard a lot of concepts everywhere. What I want to add here is, it's very surprising that one of the students I came across was unable to follow math in the school and was getting low grades. But when the same person went to a private tutor and came back again and gave the exam, he got good marks. So to me, this is a little bit surprising, and I find it strange. If that person in the school was unable to get good grades, attending a private tutor and getting good grades, what does it show? That's very alarming.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes because you have more, like what Susan was saying, more attention, that it's like almost a one-on-one or 1 versus 2. You got time and able to, with the short short span with the in class. But I think a lot of it goes, and I will say it starts from the early years. If you don't have your basic, you can't go forward. It's just like soccer. If you don't do your basic soccer drills, doesn't matter how great soccer but you get you're older. If you don't have your basic drills, it's still hard for you to continue until you get that base. If you have the base, it's easier for you to follow. So that's my thought. Yeah.
Add one quick thing
Yeah.
in terms of secondary.
Go ahead.
Mhm. Two things. One, our goal is that no student should need a tutor. Like, we would like that students should be able to get what they need from their classroom. So we recognize there's a gap here that we're working on. And teachers are expected to teach 30 students, and they're expected to differentiate. But there's all sorts of strategies that schools engage in to support that work. And we're working this is why we're not just working with educators, we're working with principals, because principals need to be very clear that they have a big role in how they allocate resources, how they, in a secondary school, use their support staff. Those are all pieces that if you do that in a very intentional way, can support programming so that all students are getting the support that they need. So, that is a goal that we definitely have and that we want to be working towards. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Can we go see the agenda? I'm sorry, I can't, we have to move on. Any questions? Are you able to just send that through so we can get it to be part of the minutes? Email it to PCCO and we can get it as part of the minutes. It's been recorded, so if you want to put in the chat, Michelle, I'm able to get that info so that answers can come back with the executive superintendents and any of the members that didn't get a chance to speak. Okay. So we're gonna go to consultation. Katie and Sarah, you have a motion?
Through the chair, there was just one other aspect of the senior staff update
Oh,
that
sorry.
was shared. If
Sorry,
I
my
can,
apologies.
through
Go
the chair.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. My apologies. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so firstly, again, I certainly want to thank on behalf of Shirley and I, as well as I'm sure all of PIAC, both Lisa and Denise, for sharing what they've just shared. Really appreciate this ongoing work. I want to move to the other item that was discussed, and I want to also share that both we really appreciated the opportunity, Shirley and I, of the invitation to the school council work group. And subsequently, we, the staff, had a conversation with Peter Singh, and we know that Shirley and myself will attend a meeting on April the 16th with the school council work group to continue the discussion and share specific points that was talked about at that time. In addition to that, just a reference to the fact that the MYSP consultation was held for PIAC on February the 15th, and really appreciated that. Lastly, there was a question that we were asked to look into specifically, and the question was, what school committees need to have a school council member or consultation within? And Michelle added to her report, and within the report, it talks about 3 specific school committees that are open to parents, guardians, and caregivers in regards to school council participation. They are the Caring and Safe School Committee, also the Staffing Committee, and lastly, or thirdly, the School Improvement Plan, or SIP Committee as we like to call it. So those are areas where all schools have opportunities for parents to participate and interact. Please know that the way the specific community school handles those particular committees, in the sense that, for example, 2 parents may be on all 3 of these committees, or they might divide it up differently. So there's some flexibility there. There are certain references in Michelle's report to specific procedure points that also would add to it, that would also add information to what I've just shared. At this point, through the chair, I will yield, and that completes the senior staff updates for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So to consultation. I would like to say, is the staff still on? The presenters? This or they've left? Like, they left. Okay, so please give them our thanks for their presentation, and hopefully looking forward to seeing them at one of our consultation working groups. So looking forward to that, hopefully. Consultation working group, Kadeen, sir? Oh, at this point in time, Zena, are we switching now or after?
And again, we're on a roll right now, so we'll go with the, we'll go with the
Okay,
flow.
all right then.
Here we go.
Okay then. All right then. Sorry, Katie and Sarah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was talking to myself for just a quick moment. Thank you, everybody. Good evening, and very much appreciating the conversation and the presentation this evening. I'm looking at the screen, but this is not the working group that I'm representing right now, so I don't know if that you want right now or for later. But I just want to say that the consultations working group had its meeting last week, Thursday, February the 15th, and we were very privileged to be joined by TDSB staff who provided us an update and presentation on the multi-year strategic plan renewal. I believe it's 2024 to 2027, and please correct me if I have the dates incorrect. I just also want to extend a thanks to our working group members. We had a wonderful turnout. And PIAC members for attending. We also had parent and community members in the space as well. So we certainly appreciate our parents attending the conversation as well. So the update really just provided us some background to how the consultations went. 8,000 parents, community members, caregivers, and other like community stakeholders involved in that consultation. And so we understand that the official launch will come forward in sometime, let's say after March, April, and we have invited the group back to at least do a proper presentation and maybe a summary update for all members at that time. We just want to say that it was really important, and through the conversation, the comments made by the PIAC members and parent and community members as well are really interested in seeing in this final report that will go public, clear and accessible language and presentation in the final report. So there was a lot around the report itself just being accessible, easy to read, and easy to understand for all parents. We also would like to see and follow up a further and deeper breakdown of the specific areas of data collected. So we're really interested in what were, the types of feedback and input that was collected that then will inform or that informs this updated renewal, as well as a lot of conversation around accountability and what are going to be the success indicators and things that really help folks to understand what success looks like and if we are achieving these pillars and milestones that have been outlined in the report as well. So we look forward to hearing more information and getting those updates and seeing the final report go public. So that was a main part of our conversation. We also, following that, had a fairly deep dive in and a bit of an exploration into the work of the kind of the school year calendar committee, and as such would like to put forward a recommendation that the board really. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I have the proper language here. But we put forward a recommendation that the TDSB direct and that the Director of Education really use the opportunity to review and to look into a change within the current school cycle to a 5-day fixed schedule with switching days. And although that feels very technical right now, there's a great deal of supporting documentation that's been provided to everyone that really highlights how this potential change and or the exploration of this switch to the calendar schedule will enable greater engagement and participation of parents and caregiver volunteers in the schools and in the classrooms by creating a more structured or consistent approach to the calendar by way of a Monday to Friday as a Monday to Friday calendar versus a day 1 through 5 calendar that changes with holidays, PA days, etc. And by exploring this and potentially moving to this fixed schedule, as other boards have, is a creative way to just create consistency and enable parent engagement.
Sorry, so Katie, and it's be it resolved that you're doing a motion or a recommendation. So your motion, be it resolved, is it on the board? What is the exact motion? I know you're saying that, but we have to have a very specific wording, or can you show it? Because it has to go into the agenda, and then if it's passed, then it has to go to board. So, and then I can open up for discussion. We can open up for discussion, and then you can repeat your motion.
Proper language.
Okay.
The supporting documents outlines a number of recommendations around this as well. I unfortunately am always in the space of the language around the formal motions in this space. So I will always take any guidance towards that.
No problem.
Chair.
Okay, so who would like to second this motion before we open it to the floor?
Then Yusuf from Ward 15 and seconded.
Okay. Okay, now we're open. It's open for discussion. So let me see. I know there's a lot of hands, so make sure that the hands. All right. We're gonna go with Andrew, Yusuf, because he hasn't spoken, and then you next. Okay. So Andrew, then Yusuf.
See, Sharon, I can keep roll of the speakers list for you, okay? So.
Oh yeah, did you want to? Oh, you'll do the speakers list?
I'll
or
just
you
hold
want
the speakers list and let you know. So you started it off, I'll keep going. Yeah.
Okay, and then we can probably help Katie in the way the motion is written, but let's discuss it and then we can.
It was an alt hand. Apologies.
It's a legacy hand. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Okay, it's legacy. Okay. Okay. Any discussion with the motion, and we can kind of word it properly. If there's any confusion with the motion, what is it looking for? You at the ward level, remember ward rep, you're representing a ward, not an individual school or person. And so see how best it will support your ward and also your school. Ward 1, Erin, go ahead. And then Ward 11.
Hi, thank you. I seem to recall this motion being put forward before, but I don't recall how long ago was that. I tried skipping our bylaws to see if there was any kind of a time limit before a motion would be brought forward again. Does anybody know offhand? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Okay.
I can't open the two documents on my screen.
Yeah. Michelle, would you be able to support, because you've been the timeline, or Zena, do you know?
What I have noted is that at a meeting in March 10th, 2020, there was a discussion around this, and there was a proposal for staff to review. Up until this date, we have received no follow-up from staff, and so with that, we would request that it be brought directly to the Director of Education for consideration. To at least review options relating to this change for the school day calendar.
Oh, okay. Michelle, do you have anything recorded or anything about this? And I will talk about it because I'm also on the school calendar. So.
Through you, Chair, I like Ward 1 recall this motion being brought forward. I hadn't realized that he requested a staff follow-up, but I have to go back and check the minutes for that. I understood that it was a motion that did not pass, but I'll go back and check the minutes. I can't speak clearly to that. However, there is nothing in your bylaws that speaks to whether a motion that was defeated or not defeated could be brought back to the floor. But obviously Robert's rules has clear guidelines around that. But if it's not reflected in your bylaws, then it may not be applicable. And if the chair is suggesting, the working group lead is suggesting that it wasn't a motion that was tabled around this item, but it was actually a recommendation for staff to go back, then there's nothing that prohibits this committee from doing so this evening.
Okay, thank you. Ward, and then I'll ask her. Ward 11, Janice, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Can you just give the very Coles notes of what you're asking us to vote on and how it differs from the original motion that was put forth previously, which was mentioned by both Aaron and Michelle?
Go ahead, Katie.
Great. So there are a series of recommendations, Janice, just to speak to that relate to, us requesting that the board direct the Director of Education to review and implement the 5-day cycle with the appropriate number of switching days. Again, this is what enables consistency in the calendar rather than the day 1 through to 5 switching. And that also the PIAC group continue to liaise at the ministry levels to be able to continue this conversation, and that we also get a report back in writing on their recommendation. So that would give some level of follow up and closing, if you will, of the cycle of putting forward this conversation again. So we are then requesting that it go directly to the Director of Education for a review, at least some consideration, and then a report back to us on.
And sorry,
yes,
this is exclusively for elementary schools.
The cycle applies to elementary schools.
Okay. And sorry, and are there any changes from the last time this was put forth?
Perhaps I can jump in.
Please do. I would have little context and reference for previous motion or recommendation.
Thank you, Katie. So a couple points. First off, there are 5 recommendations that were included in the recommendation report that was sent to all members. That report was provided last Friday, so I'm not sure why it took so long for everyone to receive it just prior to the meeting, but that's where we are. Basically, recommendation 1 and 2 are effectively identical, only that recommendation 1 is asking the board to have the director take a look at it, whereas recommendation 2 is asking the director herself to take a look at it, which is under our statutory regulatory authority. We can make recommendations both to the board and to the Director of Education. Recommendation is also, which is also within our statutory authority, to make recommendation for the Minister of Education to review this as well. And then number 4 is effectively an actioning motion to assign for liaison purposes around this for the Ontario government. And then the 5th is asking for a report back in a reasonable period of time, which April 20th, 2024. Again, this language is different than the previous motion. The previous motion, again, in good faith, had looked for Toronto District School Board staff to take a look and respond. Again, as you can see, that's not occurred in a couple of years. So that's why this motion is being put forward at this time. Again, I think the key thing to remember is, for the most part, parents and society operate on a Monday to Friday schedule. You know when your kids' soccer practices or those kind of things, or swimming lesson or whatever it is, it happens on like a Tuesday. This way, by having a Monday to Friday schedule, you will also be able to understand what your kid is doing on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, and that will be embedded into the way you conduct your life. And then what happens is, to make sure that there's the appropriate number of days, there are 7 days in the year, usually associated with a short week, where instead of a Thursday schedule on a Thursday, you would have a Friday schedule on a Thursday, and appropriate notice is provided. This is already done at Halton Board and several other boards in Ontario, and I think it would provide a meaningful impact to parent engagement. I know myself, it's difficult for me to engage and volunteer. I am able to volunteer on a certain day of the week, but it doesn't work because the schedule keeps flipping, and those pieces. So that's why I've put this motion forward. I think this is also a template for future motions for other PIAC members, where this is the template. You make a recommendation to the director, you make a recommendation to the board, and then you make an ask for a written follow-up. I think this is a way of providing accountability for the board staff to respond in a timely manner to the recommendations we're making. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go, sorry, go ahead, Janice. Go ahead.
Sorry, just one more question. Is there any other level okay, so you put it forth to staff and they did not respond, they did not receive it, they turned it down, or whatever. So now we're moving to the next level, or are we just jumping to the top? Like, is there something in between we should be investigating, like another level of authority?
Well, I would just say, based on that point, that really our only authorities are to make recommendations to the board and to make recommendations to the director, or even recommendations to the ministry. So those are actually, there's no really sort of escalatory path, if that's what you're trying to consider. The other thing to note is, we're an advisory committee, so we can make all the recommendations we want. All this is asking is that, as per good practice, that the Toronto District School Board, as with any, and this is the expectation at our school council that I'm on, is that if we make a recommendation, the principal can ignore the recommendation, but that they provide in writing that they're choosing to not accept the recommendation, and that they can provide any rationale they want. So this is what governance looks like, good governance looks like. So again, this is a motion that a parent has brought forward for consideration of this membership. I would hope that members would have an open mind about, again, this is not forcing the board to do anything. This is just asking the board to take a look. Okay.
Sorry. Janice, you want to ask any more questions? Because I need to understand what is number 4 on this motion. A PIAC liaison? PIAC liaison. Who is the PIAC liaison?
I am the PIAC liaison, okay. and I'll let me finish. Is prior to this year, previous PIAC liaisons were the ones charged with communicating with the ministry. So obviously, your prerogative, both yourself and Zita have taken that responsibility over. But it is not unreasonable that PIAC liaison had done this work previously. Both Dee and Felicia had done this work previously. Thank you.
Okay. Just so everyone know, the PIAC liaison actually reports to the co-chair, and the PIAC liaison takes the request from the co-chair as to what the PIAC liaison can do or not do on behalf of PIAC. So I don't know why number 4 is on there, because we have a co-chair that can represent and should be representing. That's why we were elected. And that motion is contradiction to what we as co-chair are doing. So that number 4 is not should not be part of a motion from the consultation working group, because you have co-chairs here that are actually the voice on behalf of the PIAC outside of this committee. And if the co-chair so choose to ask a PIAC liaison to represent, not a problem. but it's not something that the committee should be voting on because that's our role. Okay, number 4. And I wanted to ask another question.
Can I respond to that, Sharon?
Would it be best just to, and oh, 1 second, Andrew. Would it be, I'm asking a question here now. Would it be best, I'm trying to figure out the calendar. If we're looking at the elementary calendar, because remember, we're ward reps. This high school calendar, there's a lot of elementary parents are here that don't understand that in high school, it's a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 rotating. Doesn't matter. 1-2, 1. It's only day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2, and it goes all over. And high school parents have to work with the day 1, day 2. Day 1 to day 5, if every time day 1 to day 5 is a Friday of a PA day, and if that child has math, they would not have another math class again. Every time there's a PA day, then you lose math if it's day 5 is your math class. Just remember that in the calendar. So if you rotate it, and I'm an elementary parent, not rotate, but if you keep going, so if day 5, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 happens to be a Thursday, then you know what I mean, then day 5 is a Monday that the parent can. So you have to be very mindful when you're thinking about it for the ward level, the day 1 to day 5, because it's purposefully, and I'm on the calendar committee, it's purposefully set so that not that one particular class gets less amount of teaching than another class. Why they rotate it like this? If you keep it status quo, especially how we have a presentation on math, you will not have enough math class because PA day usually falls on a Friday. Be mind. I'm just wanted to let you all know that as well.
Okay, so I will
Superintendent
answer
Chan,
that.
go ahead.
I will answer that question.
Andrew. Your time. I will get to you, but Superintendent Chan, go ahead. Executive Superintendent Chan, and then Aaron, Ward 1. Okay.
No,
go ahead.
sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead, Executive Superintendent.
I go first. Yeah, thank you for sharing this and for the discussion. It is certainly something that we often discuss around how the weeks work. In terms of a recommendation, we can certainly bring anything directly to staff, as in the director, for discussion. This particular one, there is a school year calendar committee, which met from February until I think January to February, March, in anticipation of submitting the school year calendar. It involves representation from all of the working groups, employee federations and unions and associations, so that they can have input on it as well. I guess my question would be whether you want to submit it to get more information so that this group can discuss it further, or whether this group is agreeing that they would like this recommendation to go forward. So part of it is similar to what Sharon just shared. At secondary, it's a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, so that you don't miss any time. When you have the 1 to 5 schedule, and sometimes it's actually a 1 to 5 times 2, a 10-day schedule, each of those days may, and you know it because you're saying you have to prepare, a day might be that day 2 you're in the gym, day 3 you're in the library, day 4 an itinerant teacher from another location is coming to provide music or provide ESL or something else. So it's important that as a system, we follow the same schedule. The floating days can work, and it sounds like there's some research that someone's done from other boards, and that's certainly something that we can look into. But for every Monday that you move to a Tuesday, you're now losing the Tuesday. Or for every Friday you're putting on a Thursday, you're missing a Thursday. So we would never, so that would be like, it's not necessarily a day 2 and a day 4, but even though you're replacing Mondays and Fridays on your floating schedule, you're actually losing Tuesdays and Thursdays. So mathematically, maybe it works out. And I guess that's what people are trying to share, but it may need more, like you may want to think about it more before you put your ward behind this idea. Perhaps we could bring in someone to talk about it once we get a better idea of this. I'm just seeing some of these questions and recommendations recently, but certainly maybe we can bring it back for discussion before coming back just with an answer. Because we certainly want it to be something where we're having a conversation around it versus yes, no, because we know that the school year calendar has already met for the year, and perhaps that was the timing of the last time it came forward. I don't know. I wasn't part of PIAC at that time. So I just wanted to share that, those little pieces. Thank you.
Okay, Erin, thank you. Erin, Ward 1, and then Janice, and then Andrew.
No, I'm sorry. I have nothing. Sorry.
Oh, and then Sarah. So Janice and Sarah and then Andrew. Actually, Sarah first because she hasn't said anything before. Janice and then Andrew. Sorry, let me just get her voice in there.
Yeah, no, so not a problem. Again, this is recommendation. I think we made it very clear. Is on the working group. This is why it's crucial that so we don't waste our time here on PIAC members to read the documentation or join the working group. But again, this is moved forward as a recommendation. Members of the working group, we extensively went through it. We talked about it, we discussed it, and we actually voted on it. And as it says, and I think some members already put in the comment, just want to make this clear so we don't go back and forth. Again, it's a recommendation. The TDSB staff can respond it back to say yes, it's possible, or no, it's possible, or A, B, C, D, we can take forward to discussion. Thank you.
No problem. Before Janice goes, having this as 1, 2, 3, 4 is wholesome. Perhaps breaking it up, and so each part has its own. This is a 1, 2, 3 for recommendations, not an all-in-one, because some does affect what the co-chair is doing. So we need to have it broken up, requesting that it's broken up. So if members need to vote on it, they vote on it separately. Go ahead, Michelle.
Through you, Chair, if I may, I wanted to follow up to something that was said earlier around helping PIAC members understand process around what goes forward and how. So number 1, where it says TDSB the Director of Education to implement. So this one, I assume, is going directly to the board. That means this would be a motion that PIAC will be making directly to the board. So I say we handle that separately as a motion from PIAC to the board. It appears that 2 is to the director. So that's a recommendation that PIAC can make to the director. The third one needs clarity. Ontario Government's Minister of Education. Is it that it's asking that the Board of Trustees write to the Ministry of Education and that they make a recommendation to the Public School Board? I just want us to move through that so we can just sort of clarify number 3. And I've heard you say, as for number 4, Chair, that the first part of 4, liaison with the government, is the role and responsibility and mandate of the co-chairs of PIAC. So that one would need to be reframed necessarily. However, the PIAC liaison has acted at the directive of this committee on the PICs. So that would be appropriate. So that one would probably need to be separated to clarify role and function. And then 5 again, maybe 5 could be connected to the one that's linked to director so that the director explore, but the director also reports back. I just want to help, as a member had suggested, as they lay out the process so members understand how we move things forward. And also the language, I think, is key, right? Recommendation, it means it's going to staff. Motion means that we will take it directly to committees of trustee.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. We can.
So maybe, Chair, the lead would like to guide us through how you would like to handle each of them, and then we just probably work through them faster if it's done. Because I don't believe that you need a roll call on this because it's technically not governance, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it's correct.
Right. And so with that, I think that it's important to keep things moving, that the first recommendations 1 and 2 are, again, they're put forward to the board and to the Director of Education. We'll put those forward as motions. If it is a matter of that us then clarifying the language around 3 and to again for further discussion, if that's what we're being directed to around points 4, then those we shouldn't have to take more time to do that here.
What about
so perhaps
what about 5, Katie? Do you want to put 5 with 2?
Yes, and
Because
5 is quite yes, and along with 1, 2, and 5 to come forward, because that would mean that we also will be graced with a response of some sort.
Okay. And in the meantime, while we're putting that together, Janice, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just have, so the way I see this, we've got 2 separate things going on. One is whether or not we as a group agree with concept of a 5-day fixed schedule for the elementary schools. And secondly, the second part is how we are going to put it together and who we are going to send it to. So I have a question for the first part, and in number 3, it makes mention of an appropriate number of switching days, usually 7 to maintain the balance. So if you could just clarify that,
Sure.
Kadeen. And my second question is, I guess it came from the fact that Executive Superintendent Chan mentioned that the calendar year group has already met. Have they disbanded already? And does this mean that we're basically submitting this into sort of the ether and it'll get considered sometime in September? Or what are the chances of this having any sort of viability? So I've got 2 questions there.
Can I answer those?
Well, we have to ask Executive
So
Superintendent
I guess
Chan.
you can answer the first part about the 7 switching days.
So if we scroll down, so scroll up onto the screen, keep going till you get to the chart. So this is what it looks like. So basically, and it's evenly distributed, so that the switching days are evenly distributed. So on an overall perspective, there's very little difference in fidelity from what's currently occurring with the floating schedule. And again, if you go to the appendix and the attachment, basically there's a lot of information establishing how it all works and why it's almost identical to the floating day, except for the fact that it's an easier schedule for both students, parents, teachers, staff, everyone to understand. Okay, so that's question 1. Question 2 around who, actually, I guess you asked that question to the superintendent, but I'd still like to speak afterwards.
Oh, 8:51. So I'll get the superintendent executive superintendent to speak. We got a few more motion. What time are we scheduled to be done today, Michelle?
Through your chair, through your chair, you're scheduled to complete tonight at 9:20.
Okay, so we have 28 minutes, and we have not gone through a portion of stuff. All right,
So
when we get to Andrew, I'd like to just finish up. When we get to a certain spot, then we may have to ask maybe for an extended time. But executive superintendent needs to speak, and then we have to hear how Katie put it together, and then we can go to the vote. Go ahead, executive superintendent Chan.
So the school year calendar has already submitted their form for this year. They have reconvened on special circumstances, for example, the eclipse day, etc. Not sure. We would need to bring this forward to those who are part of that committee now that we've moved on to other aspects of their decision making. We're moving into budget and staffing and so forth. We would have to find out their availability in hearing this discussion. So that's all I can say. I'm not on that committee, so I would have to perhaps look to one of my other executive colleagues following this meeting to find out how that would work. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee McLean, I apologize. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I've served on the calendar committee for a couple of years, and if memory serves, Mr. Waters presented to the calendar committee this concept, I think, while he was on it. So it's not a new concept. The calendar committee, it's not my understanding, and staff, as Superintendent Chan indicated, can confirm later, but this isn't something that the committee decides which PA days or the board will select. It works with the Catholic board to confirm. We are required to get our calendar. We get it approved in advance so parents know when the PA days are. When we know when the schedule is, we have to send it to the province for it to be approved. When it was presented, when Mr. Waters presented to the calendar committee, it was an information base, and staff was there and heard. Executive Director Gold at the time was in charge of the calendar committee and heard that. So while this may be, and this is operational in nature, is my take on this. So the director is free to. So if you wanted to send it to the director and she could deal with it, or have senior team deal with it, or send it out, but I'm not sure that A, the calendar committee has done its work this year, and B, I'm not entirely sure that. I don't think that's necessarily the best path for this. So that was just when the people were asking about the calendar committee and its work. That's what I put my hand up to, just to share. So.
Okay, thank you. So just as
Can I have my final comment?
I'm just asking the trustee a question. Trustee McLean, just out of clarification, what you're indicating that any kind of changes has to actually go to the province as well, correct?
Not this.
Not this, okay.
We changed our calendar in which days we're going to be operational for parents and which days we're going to do professional development. That has to be approved by the province. This, in terms of approach to the individual elementary school calendars, is not something that the province, in my understanding, that the province would weigh in on. As you noted, because some boards are, as it was noted, some boards are doing this, others are not. There isn't a general rule over the province as to whether one is better than the other, or that make it universal. So the committee doesn't engage in that. This is operational in nature. This isn't something that the board. This isn't something, in my opinion, that the board would direct the director of education to do. Although we could refer it to staff and ask them to bring us back a report about the pros and cons and whether, that kind of nature. But this is operational in nature, and I don't think the board is likely to share, to tell the director what to do in this regard. I don't think we have the ability to do that. I don't think it's inside our mandate. But I'm not. I was just trying to share my experience with the calendar committee, and whether you'd missed the boat or not. I don't think you need to be on that boat, so to speak. And the committee is free to, obviously, to advocate wherever you want to advocate and seek what you what you want.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the calendar committee, yes, I did a number of years back share the information with the calendar committee, and they did indicate that it was not within their mandate. So again, this would be something that, you know, either the director of education consider, or similar to what we did last year in June when we passed the motion asking for the board to take a look at the issue around communication in the emails. And though the board did, after a lengthy discussion at one of the committees, where trustees did express their concerns and wanted to make sure it was addressed, they did refer it back. But this is part of the process of, you know, of anything that we do. I just would like to note that I'm kind of a little concerned. Like, just let's take a step back and think about if this was you're at your school council meeting and a recommendation has been worked out a working group and brought to the committee, and then all of a sudden the principal takes 20 minutes trying to say why not to bring forward this recommendation. I think that school council would find that very concerning. So I just think, again, this is another example. This is the same thing that happened in June, where board staff basically put up a bunch of roadblocks and said, no, just let's do this offline. It'll be fine.
Okay, Andrew, I'm going to stop you now. Bruce, please go on. Please go ahead. Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
I guess carrying on to what Andrew was saying, like, this is a recommendation. So at this point, you know, I think it's things have been discussed on both sides, and it should maybe just go to that vote. But I also was wanting to say, actually, why I rose my hand was, albeit the calendar committee may have, you know, time may have passed, but this recommendation could go forward for other, you know, ongoing year, next year, 2024-25, or if there is time for this year. But it's still a recommendation, I think, that should be put forward and vote on whether or not we're doing that. And regardless of whether or not this calendar committee has commenced for this year, especially with the amount of work that's gone into this.
Thank you. Thank you. What and I wanted to just to let everyone know, yeah, whatever we vote on or not, it's just that this vote was not passed in our last PIAC meeting. I'm not saying that, and what they're saying and what the staff is saying, what we're saying, I'm saying as well, for us as a group, is that the calendar committee only works on the PA days. They don't work on the actually day 1 to day 5. They're only working on the PA days that is mandated, that they have to go back to the province and let the province know what days the building's going to close and what are they going to do for teacher improvement and all that stuff, right? PD days, the professional development days, and etc. Any day 1 to day 5 or day 1 to 2 is operational. So the executive superintendents, the associate director, that's the staff and the group that manages the 1 to 5. So recommendation going to them. And so what Trustee McLean is saying is that that if you do motion, then it goes to the trustee, and that's the trustee is not at the purview to look at that because it's an operational thing. So recommendation is where we at for that. So that's what I wanted to just let everybody know. So and anyone else, Executive Chan, and then we go for a vote.
I just wanted to clarify that my statements were just recommendations, just my thoughts around it. It was not meant to hold this up in any way. When I mentioned the school council, the school year calendar group, it is because the day 1 to 5 schedule is a way of having a process of having itinerant teachers, other staff be part of in a consistent manner. That includes perhaps people's prep time and other duties. So that school year calendar has representation from all of our union groups. So certainly we would not move forward without consulting with them as well.
Yeah. So just so that a lot of because I'm part of the school council, I'm part of the calendar committee as well as a voice, Seen and I, for PIAC. It is not just staff, TDSB staff that's part of that group. It's actually groups outside of the TDSB, the union groups that have a voice and very strong voice at the table as well. the teacher union. So even although we may go to director, it has to go to if the union doesn't agree with it, it's not going to go forward regardless. So FYI, as a team, it's not just TDSB staff. It's a lot of different people at the table discussing different things in terms of the days and even for the PA days, the appropriate PA days to take.
And the motion does include that.
And also they have to also work with the Catholic school board as well, because they share busing with them as well. So these are things that they have to use as well. So I just want to let you know. And in saying that, then Katie, you're ready with whatever motion you want to put forward? Which ones? And then we'll just and seeing that it's not on the governance working group motion, once Katie puts it up. If is it two or more?
Just based on the discussion, the number of considerations, the reality that it's operational work, and in fact all of the perspectives here, I am uncertain what it is that needs to happen, at least for this and these recommendations to come forward to the appropriate committee, so that it can be put forward and that we can actually get a response. And so what we are seeking is a different outcome than what we have had in the past, where it's gone forward as a recommendation and we haven't had any feedback or reply or response to that. And so again, I am not certain what it is at this point needs to happen to continue to move this forward.
So can you put that back up, Michelle? Just to guide the co-leads. Can you put up a recommend? I think, Michelle, it worked out. I think number 1 can be voted on, and then 2 and 5 put together as another recommendation for vote. Is that correct? Let me see. So Katie, so we're gonna do the first one, TDSB, because then that would be the board directing.
Okay, so they're going to come forward as 2 separate motions then.
Yeah.
The TDSB to direct the director of education.
Yeah, because
and then separately for the director of education to actually review this, that will go straight to her for review, and then with the appropriate response.
Yeah. So the TDSB one is like a motion to the board, like with Trustee McLean and team, and then the other one's a recommendation. 2 and 5, because they have to come back with a response, right? Here's a recommendation, have a look at it, but you have to come back with a response. It's not a silence. So from her or her staff, right? Michelle, do you have the agenda? I can't see the motion up. Or is it you, Katie, that put the motion up?
I didn't put anything.
Oh. Michelle? So that we can go to a vote. And then
through you, Chair, I was just trying to organize as you speak what it should look like. So I'm going to try and just share my screen as I listened and just attempted to
yeah. And then while Michelle working on that, we just need is it 2 or 3? Oh my gosh, I'm missing. Zena, please help me here. For non-governance.
So if I may. Chair, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
So what I've literally done is just take the motions as they were presented and name the first one would be a motion that you will put forward. The second is the recommendation. So the motion, because you are sending the first one directly to the board. So that'd be a motion. The second one, you're making a request of the director. So that's a recommendation. The third one is a motion because you'll be asking the Board of Trustees to communicate with the Ministry of Education. You may clarify that, not uncertain if that was the intent. The following is a recommendation that the PIAC co-chairs connect with government, simply because that is the responsibility. And then the final is a recommendation about the PIAC liaison connecting with the PIECs on this manner. So that's how I separated it for the chair of the working group to take a look at to see if that meets the intention.
Okay, so and again, as co-chair, Zena and I, the last one, the pick, when it was requested, the past co-chair, they were the experienced co-chair that actually sat on a pick. There was no pick advisory since the last, so the co-chairs will be sitting on the pick, not the liaison, or we may ask. So I'm asking for that is a co-chair prerogative. Again, okay. This is the recommended. This is it's a co-chair. It's not a liaison. The liaison is here to support the co-chair and the liaison is not the co-chair. So we have to remember as committee, we got to respect our role as co-chair. Okay, and we are the co-chair and we're the one and the voice to help support our group and speak on behalf of our group. So and this is as a group, and all members, you have the opportunity to become a co-chair, and I pray that every single one gets a chance to become a co-chair. And so we gotta be empathetic to the role as well and understand of the role, and to ensure that sitting co-chairs are dealt with in the way that and be held accountable for the role that they're supposed to be doing. Okay, I just want to ask you that kindly. Go ahead. KD, are you and co-chairs, co-leads good with the recommendation at the bottom? Because that's the one I'm very concerned about, Zena and I. Because what it's doing is purposely trying to put aside a co-chair, and we are the co-chair of PIAC. We're the voice to support PIAC.
Sharon, can you explain to us what the issue in here is? So this is all have been approved by the working group.
Yeah, the issue is that, yes, the issue is that the work, yes. So, okay, so the other portion, so for the, when a working group, you have co-chairs that were elected, who are supposed to be the one liaison with the ministry, or liaison with outside of the committee. Whenever time you do a motion, and if we have to speak, the co-chair have to speak on behalf of PIAC, any motion that goes to the board, right? So what the working group is doing is saying, you know what, co-chair, you have no consequence. We're gonna ask the liaison, who the co-chair has asked as a motion to come in and help support them in the back. So when working group is saying you're gonna directly ask a liaison to go to speak to other picks within the province, then what are we here for? That's our role.
I do think, Sharon, and I agree with you, that it can feel that it's a slight or an overstep of the co-chairs' roles, especially at the kind of provincial committees, pick committees. But I would say that this is an opportunity, right, for the co-chairs and the liaise to actually work together to achieve something, and to see this as an opportunity to have someone's well-informed, speaking to the issue for a number of years, has the background knowledge to support the co-chairs to be able to show up and to do that. So it's really an opportunity here to be able to work together. I'm going to speak candidly for a moment and say that it is evident, whether we are going to speak openly about it or not, that that's not the case currently. And we're finding ourselves kind of in this constant wheel, of spinning the wheel of a battle that's going on between the two of you. And so I would really like to see this be something that's shared, especially when you have a set of knowledge that can be supported to bring this conversation further. Right. And what we are asking is for an exploration of this as an option that supports and can encourage sustained parent engagement and volunteering in the elementary schools at the TDSB. Right. And so that's what I'd want to say. And I apologize if it feels like an overstep. That's not the case. But we would want to say that it can be bolstered and strengthened if people are actually working collaboratively versus being at odds with each other.
Okay, thank you. Jessica and then Zena.
Hi guys. No, it just feels like with the PIAC liaison, I mean, if the chairs needed help, they would ask, right? If you put liaison down there, it feels like an override of the co-chairs. I mean, what would be the point of the co-chairs, right? That's just my opinion on it.
Perhaps
go ahead, Zena. Go ahead, Zena, and then Andrew.
I want to thank members for their candidness and for their honesty, and for the spirit of collaboration, to be honest. So there has to be a way through this, and I think this is something that could be taken offline for that matter, and then brought back to the next PIAC meeting as to what everybody sort of came up with. To be fair, there's a difference between something called OPICA and the PIC meetings that happen with the ministry. So OPICA was something that was born out of those meetings. OPICA was something that one of the chairs at the time, and this would have been going back over 4 years ago, wanted to gather with fellow PIC chairs. So that's where OPICA came from. You could ask Felicia and you can ask Dee. That's where it came from. I attended OPICA meetings as well. So it is separate from speaking to the ministry directly. The PIC meetings, which take place by the ministry, that, like I said earlier, is something that Michelle would have provided because we are the official co-chairs of this PIC. So to be clear, when that liaison position, and I wasn't even on PIAC at the time, but when that was a generated position and it mentioned OPICA, that is slightly different. I want to share that with the group. It's not actually directly speaking to the government. It's not liaising directly with the government. It was PICs that were gathering, and it was something as an offshoot, sort of like grassroots, if you will. To be honest, that has not started yet. It tends to sometimes start up. And I know that if we were, because we were on that list, it's possible that that information gets shared. So when it comes to collaboration and speaking with a liaison from PIAC that works with, let's say, the chairs, that's something where ideas can be shared. And for that reason alone, that's something, if that group were to get restarted, chairs would go to PIAC itself and discuss with the group as to what we want to bring back. So it'd be collaborative and not just the liaison, but it'd be collaborative with the whole entire group. So going to consultations, going to school council support, and saying, what would you guys like us to bring back? So for instance, at that meeting that took place, one of the things we mentioned with the government at the time was the concern about email, was the concern about connecting parents. So it was coming out of the school council support working group. And guys, we took the message to the government saying, boards need more funding. So as an example, that's how that works. If there's any clarity to that. So thank you, Katie. I'm in spirit of collaborations that gets things happening. It does take talking, but it takes people to do that.
Thank you. So yes, yeah, go ahead, Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, so in the spirit of collaboration, perhaps we pull off the motion around seeking to the government for further review and just go with the motion to the board and the motion to the director with the follow-up report. Since that's the consent, since the motion around the government and who liaise is the consensus piece.
Katie,
through you, Chair, if I may.
I
just want to clarify the process here. In your bylaw, it states that anything at that level is the PIAC co-chairs. And I'm concerned that this is becoming about co-chairs and liaison, and that there is a challenge, and there may be not a full spirit of collaboration, but it's pretty clear that when this committee is making a recommendation that goes to the board or speaks to the board or beyond that, it is the co-chairs that engage in that role. And if the co-chairs see fit, the co-chair may extend an invitation to any member of PIAC or the liaison to accompany them to do so. So I don't believe this particular item is about sensitivity or not. It's just simply about the process. And it's not just here. If you look at the board itself, the chairs of the board speak on the behalf of the board. The co-chairs of PIAC speak on the behalf of PIAC. And I don't want PIAC members to think that this particular protocol is really about a lack of relationship or collaboration. It's really just protocol. And I'm wondering, Chair, that it is now 9:17. If we can move forward, as I'm seeing in the chat, in terms of moving forward on the recommendations and the motions. So we may now close this item and determine what we're going to do with the rest of the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, Kadeen, how would you like to move forward? And Sarah, sorry, it's both, right?
Thank you. And I would, sorry, and I will seek Sarah's agreement on this as well, that we put forward to vote the motions as they've been laid out and the recommendations as they have been laid out here by Michelle for everyone's.
Zena, do you want to take over this portion?
Well, there is a motion
So
on
through
the
you,
floor.
Chair, we now have the motion and a seconder. I just think it needs to be called for the committee, so we can move on to the second recommendation.
Okay, so go ahead. I need three or anyone, since it's not a governance working group motion. We need just three or more members that want to see a recorded vote. If not, it passes. Is it? So no one? Okay. Andrew's at a legacy hand?
So you want our hands up? Are we going in for the vote?
No, yes, it's a legacy hand.
Okay, seeing that, seeing that you can do it, or should I go ahead?
Go ahead, Chair. Let's get this going.
Okay.
Yep, just go ahead.
So for motion one, seeing that there is no show of hands for recorded vote, it passes. So TDSB direct the Director of Education to implement Monday to Friday 5-day schedule. And recommendation. Any showing of hands? No recorded vote needed? I mean, Zena, you let me know. I see one.
I only see.
Let me know who's.
All I see is one hand. I see two. I see Aaron and Mercy. That's it. And I see Shelley.
Yeah, I'm still trying to read through these now that they've been rewritten.
Okay. So we will.
I'm sorry, can you make it bigger on the screen, please?
Is it okay?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Shelley, what ward are you? I don't see a ward besides Shelley.
Ward
Call
16.
Ward
Sorry.
16? Okay, all right. Can you read? Okay. So we're looking at three, so we need to have a recorded vote on the recommendation. So ready? Zena, you want to call out the words?
Yep. Ward 1.
Ward 1 against.
Sorry, I only see
There
two
was three.
hands.
I just took mine down.
There were
Wait,
three.
now I see
There were
three.
three.
hands.
There were three hands. There were three hands.
Okay.
But Shelley put up
confusing.
her hand to ask to be able to have the screen enlarged. So does Shelley intend to want a recorded vote?
It was Aaron, Ward 1, that asked to have the screen enlarged, and I wanted a recorded vote.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
And we're
we started
extending the
about
meeting
Ward
to
2. Ward.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
we're at Ward 1, Ward 2.
Against. Just Ward in favor or against. Okay. Or abstain. Ward 2. In favor, against, or abstain. Is that Sarah? Okay. So there's no.
I said yes. Just record me for all.
In favor? Okay, Ward 2 in favor. Go ahead, Sarah.
Ward 2 in favor of all the recommendations.
Ward 4.
We have to go one by one, Sarah. Ward 3? Is there any Ward 3?
Sorry, I don't have a Ward 3 unless Ward 3 is online right now. I didn't have a Ward 3
Okay.
earlier. Ward 4.
Sorry, against?
Not
Ward
in favor.
6. The Ward 4 is against.
Yeah, not in
Ward-
favor.
Not in favor, not in favor. Sorry, my apologies.
Ward 6. That should be, I think it's Mercy that's here.
Mercy?
Yes, in favor.
Ward 6
Ward
in
8.
favor?
Oh, sorry. Ward 8.
Thank you. In favor.
Ward 9.
In favor.
Ward 10.
Thank you. We are in favor.
Ward 11.
Abstain.
Ward 13.
In favor.
You passed
Ward 15.
You passed Ward 12. I'm here.
I apologize. Ward 12.
I'm in favor.
Okay, sorry about that. Ward 15.
In favor.
I think there's
Ward
Ward
16.
Did you do Ward 14?
In favor.
I apologize. I didn't have Ward 14 earlier, but Ward 14.
Abstain.
Okay, sorry about that, Jenny. Ward 16 was
in favor.
Ward 17.
In favor, against, or abstain. Ward 17. Nicole, I think. Okay. Go on.
Ward 18.
In favor.
Ward 19. Ward 19.
Musa?
Shubnam should be there. She's still showing as in attendance,
She's there? Okay.
so she should be voting.
So we need the reps to put their award beside their name to make it easier so we know who's in the call. So
Shabnam or Musa. Musa is also 19.
so no one's answering.
Ward 20.
Abstain.
Thank you. Ward 21. Ward 21. Circle back. Ward 22.
Abstain.
Thank you. Go back to Ward 19 one more time. Ward 19.
Sorry?
Ward 21 in favor, abstain, or against?
Or abstain. Azim?
Ward 21, abstain.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're just waiting on Ward 19.
Question here from Ward 18. How long do we need to wait for them to respond?
I was going to say, I mean, at this point, I don't hear anything at all.
Yeah, everyone else has voted. We've taken the time.
Move on.
Okay.
Okay. So Michelle?
Michelle, are you able to support what may happen with this? Is it passed or? Sorry, Michelle? Hello? Zena?
I don't.
Oh.
Through
Sorry.
you, Chair. The motion carries.
What was the recorded? What was it? 10 to 15 or what? What is it? So it's recorded.
Sharon, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're saying something, but you're on mute.
Sorry, the motion carried. So Michelle will just let us know what the numbers are
I
so we can have
apologize,
that.
Chair, that
Yeah.
the motion carried. And what I captured were you had 10 that were in favor.
Mm-hmm.
You had 5 abstentions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had 2 not in favor.
Okay. Thank you. So we go on to the. Oh, Michelle, you need to go up to the next.
Oh,
Sure.
sorry, Chair. Just
Okay, no problem.
I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment
Mhm.
just to clarify my screen.
Do we need to get a?
Just want to be sure.
Are we at past
I have the
time
right
now?
document.
Do we pass time now, Michelle? What's the?
We have, yes,
past
sure, you
time,
have.
and membership. Can we get an extra half hour to go through stuff? Or we can table this on the next meeting.
Next half hour means it will be crossing 10 o'clock then.
Next half hour will be 9:58.
Yeah, that's going to be close to 10. And we're not sure that we can complete it in the next half hour.
We'll push through if we need. We'll push through and hopefully done before. I'm hoping to be done before. But just as a respect, especially to get to the events, at least membership, even an extra half hour, and hard stop in half hour. So anyone wants to put that motion forward?
I'll put the motion forward. Janice, Ward 11.
Ward 21 will second it.
Thank you. So, okay. Thank you. We have to go real fast now. The only thing I'm gonna ask for us as a group, if we are going to, not any negative to what's happening there. I'm happy about this process. I'm happy about the discussion. I'm not upset. I'm very happy because this is wholesome. These are parents. We're all volunteers. But maybe what we probably have to do is split it up a little bit and then have a little bit of motion on each group, each meeting, or see how best we can put it together so that we don't go into the overtime. But I know that we have to, as co-chairs, manage a conversation, okay, as well. So we have our work as well, and it's a learning curve. Okay, so motion is the next one. Ontario Government, Ministry of Education, Direct Ontario Public School Board. What's this? Is this to implement? So who will be taking this to the ministry?
Through you, Chair, that's what we were seeking
Are we asking the
clarification
school
on.
board, because this is directing the province? Who's going to direct the province? Are we asking or taking advocacy to the province? Because this is not at the school board level. This is not at the trustee level. This is at the provincial level. Are we asking our school or the board to advocate for this? What are we doing? I'm confused on this one.
So the intention of this one was that PIAC would either write to the ministry and either have, I guess, the original recommendation was for the PIAC liaison to do that. But again, yeah, the intent is for PIAC itself to, again, all that would be required here is to write a letter asking them to consider it.
Is Trustee McLean still on?
Is it appropriate at this time?
We're asking.
I know we've already asked.
No, just to clarify, I don't understand.
It's already so late. We can just hold this one since seems to be the one that's most contentious, and like we've been talking about this for an hour.
Yeah, please. That was also going to be my request, that the remaining recommendations and motions be held down to a later meeting or to an upcoming meeting. We can revisit the language and bring it back forward.
Okay.
We have just out of respect for the time and the remaining groups.
Okay.
And we thank everybody for their time and their participation in the conversation to make the first motion and recommendation carry.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll table that for the next one for more. Okay. All right. Thank you. The agenda. Another motion. Is it school council? Can't remember. Oh, wait. Events working group.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nadia, for your update.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Yes,
patience.
hi, good night.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I was not able to get a working group report in due to illness in my household right now, including myself. So I'll be very brief and in respect to time for everybody as well. I just want to say that we had a very good conference, well attended. We had about 283 in total that checked in for attendees and 12 walk-ins for attendees. We also had quite a bit of student volunteers. We had also the attendees, they utilized the child minding. So we had about 50 kids in child minding. And we were also able to live stream the workshop. That was the mega workshop that we had. And it is on the PCCO's YouTube channel. And that was viewed as of today, 305 views so far. And then in terms of budget, still working on getting all the finalized numbers in, but I can say that we are close to the 30,000 that we had asked for. And then also we had a survey that went out to attendees, communications working group. Thank you for that. They were able to get that out. And the report on that was 25% of attendees wanted targeted workshops and 75% liked the large format, such as the mega workshop. 58% connected with PIAC reps and lots of happy, satisfied people and happy with food as well too. There was some pivoting that had to occur during the event as some of the agenda items didn't go according to plan, like we just were over a little bit in the mega workshop, so we had to pivot, and due to that, because of that, there was a little bit of a domino effect, but we were able to manage that very well and still get attendees out on time. And we had our debrief last week, and last week Monday, with a lot of great feedback, lots of takeaways for improvement, what worked, what didn't work, and what is needed as well too. And I just would like to say thank you, huge thank you to everybody. The special events working group comprising of PIAC reps, community members, PIAC liaison, and co-chairs. Thank you to PIAC reps as well, not part of the working group, but those that came forward and represented all of us together as a group. Thank you to the TDSB staff, PCCO, Tanya for bringing the swag to our swag bags from TDSB vendors, Christy Heath sent to us on Boro to support the event, parents, caregivers, school councils, attendees, Earl Haig Culinary Department, student volunteers, Dagmar Childminding, and everyone involved in this successful event. So I just want to say it was amazing work from everybody. This was, I think everybody should be very happy and proud of yourself. So thank you. And promise once I am on the mend, I will get that working group report out, and more details will be on that, better details. But, yeah. All right.
Thank you, Nadia, and to you and your team, job well done. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, and get well, please. Yeah.
Thank you.
School Council, Sarah Melanie.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
You'll be happy to know we do not have a motion. I don't know why I said we had a motion in there, but we do not have a motion.
Okay.
I will just quickly thank Shirley Chan and Yuton Robinson for attending our meeting. We discussed issues around irregularities with principals. We had a really great discussion. I know it was mentioned that IT will be coming to our April 16th meeting, so thank you for that. We spoke how parent engagement is evaluated by superintendents during principal reviews. Training is mostly limited to the front end of the principal's career, and it was noted that there have been a lot of recent promotions. It was brought up to bring issues to your learning center superintendent once you have exhausted the parent concern protocol. The group pondered how staff can move beyond tracking issues individually and build a systemic culture of engagement. Again, we talked about the problems with email access, and like mentioned, the IT crew will be coming on April 16th, so we thank you for that. The only one, everything else can be read in our report. The only one thing I did want to ask here at the meeting is for virtual schools, is there like a PIAC representative? There were questions around how PIAC can support virtual school councils. That was the only thing we wanted to bring forward. Everything else you can read in our report. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to, in the background, say Katie, if you could invite Katie, and she was the co-lead for a virtual school working group when we had that ad hoc working group. And I think it's absorbed into school council. So maybe Katie, and you can connect with Katie and as co-lead. She'll be able to give us some update or some history based on that. Okay, Katie, if you don't mind.
Okay,
thank you. Yeah. Number 9. Who's number 9? What's number 9? Operational effectiveness. Katie and Sarah.
All right, I'm back up. We have no recommendations to put forward at this time, so I just want to note that. And very quickly, want to extend my thanks, utmost gratitude, and congratulations to June and Mercy for stepping forward as the co-leads for the strategic planning working group. And so the first date set for the meeting would be Monday, March 18th. And we would, or the group itself, the strategic planning group would like to use the Monday evening slots, which I believe were 6 to 7:30, or what was formerly the events working group meeting slots, to continue that work. So we're very excited to kind of kick off that strategic planning conversation. And please extend our thanks again to Mercy and June. And just beyond that, we will be looking into and reviewing the PIAC bylaws, which have come up in a number of different ways for consideration, or various bylaws have come forward in a number of ways for consideration. So we will be doing that review and have a series of asks, if you will, around the school, on the ward allocations for the co-reps to host events, a series of suggestions that will enable us to continue to manage the budget and be mindful of any underspending towards the end of the school year, and to ensure that we have funds put aside, if available, for the strategic planning day, as well as consultants from last meeting. So that's all.
Thank you. And PCCO update.
Through you, Chair. I'll just defer all the committee members to my report. I highlighted a number of things where it would be ideal to have PIAC feedback on. I asked that the working groups, if any of the things that I propose are relevant to you and you're interested, please just reach out to me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Number 11. What's number 11 on the agenda? Sorry.
Executive
Okay.
staff update.
Okay, staff update.
Through you, Chair, we have covered those items, so I think we
Okay.
can pull that time back and keep going.
Okay, thank you. Working group co-leads. So communications, Seema said she has a written report.
Yes, we
Anything
do.
to add?
Yes, just 2 things. So there's going to be a flyer mail out, a PIAC flyer mail out to the school councils through TDSB, just an FYI on that. And right now we're compiling a couple of list of TDSB website changes regarding our old logos and little bits and pieces like of information that just need to be updated, and we'll be sending that out as well.
Thank you. Membership? Jenny or Janice?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you,
My double
Chair.
J's, go ahead.
So I'll just be super quick. I submitted a report that was current up until the point I submitted it. There's been a few changes, but I'll update for the next meeting. So just to go through, we've got 37 sitting members. Our quorum for meetings is 15. The number of members signed up for working groups is 24, and the number of community members is 21. So they're catching up with us. I think that's great. And a lot of those that put their names in came from that conference that we hosted. So I think it really proves that those conferences are really important for us reaching out to the community. We have the declaration of membership. We only have 12 people that have completed it, so out of 37. So the rest of you need to please complete the declaration of membership. We've had some newly elected members in Ward 20. Chris Levine has been re-elected. Welcome back.
Yay! Welcome back, Chris.
Katika Bardwaj is new and welcome. And I just wanted to say to Ward 8, Kadeen and Anshu, you have both been acclaimed again. So we're so happy to have you staying on PIAC. And I just wanted to send out a special hello to Ward 16. We've had a bit of a challenge getting you guys on board, but Eden and Shelley, thank you so much for coming tonight and welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, so we've got 8 vacancies currently, and we have 10 members with expired terms that are currently continuing to serve. And that's basically it for tonight. And I just wanted to thank everybody for hanging in on that vote. I think it's really important that we have the ability to actually debate and consider how we're going to vote. I think that's a really important point that everybody really has to embrace. And I also want to thank Michelle for supporting us from the PCCEO office and helping us get through that challenging time. So thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Oh yes, so Kadeen spoke about strategic planning. So March 18th is our first meeting. So that's good. Hope to see everyone there, as many of our members. If you have not yet signed up, this is a governance working group. Please sign up so you can be part of that group. Co-leads, it's for you, and then other members can join. So it's really critical that our co-leads are speaking in this particular platform. Michelle, go ahead, and then we can.
My apologies, Chair. I jumped it. I thought you were close to adjournment, and then I'll speak to that item once you get closer to that.
Okay, then. Our CLG Tawheed, did he submit the report? Does he have anything today, or is he on? No.
Through you, Chair. I've not seen him in the participants list.
Okay, so because we have our CLG and it's appropriate to have that particular, to have him as a have this particular item as an agenda item, and so we will go back, and if he has something to provide, yes, but at least the platform is there for CLG updates, and eventually we're going to have another one for the mental health and well-being rep once we get somebody who is willing to come forward. Ward updates. Bruce and then June, quickly. You have any ward updates, Bruce?
Sorry, my hand is not up for a word update. Through the chair, I have a question for our membership chair.
Okay, co-leads, go ahead. Go ahead for Janice or Jenny. Go ahead, Bruce.
My question, sorry, declaration of membership. Sorry, where is that found?
Actually, it was sent out with the email with the link, but I will put it in the chat for you so you can access it there.
And also, Michelle, would you be able to just send it out again, if you don't mind, to the entire membership? You will if you have done, thank you. If you have not done, then here's it again. because I knew there was some problem with emails and stuff. So, so
All right,
Jen,
I'm hoping everyone should be able to access that.
yeah, okay, all right, okay. So I'm gonna go on to June because we want to be done in a few minutes. Go ahead, June.
Oh, okay, thank you. Just a quick question about the strategic planning. So what is the timeline for that? I mean, by when we need to finish that, then we can have a planning for the meeting on March 18th.
I don't understand. What do you mean? The March 18th, you're looking for a timeline prior to March 18th or March 18th? I thought March 18th the first day that you.
I'm asking for the timeline for strategic planning because we need to have a plan for the meeting. We need to like set up the stages. What is the task for each stage? Then we can meet
Okay.
the deadline of strategic planning.
Sorry, that's gonna be the first conversation, March 18th. And then from there, you work with the group as to what you need to do for the actually go live strategic planning event.
So
This is just a working group. It's a
so
working
this
group.
whole month we don't need to do anything to get ready for that. We just talk
Well,
about.
we're at the end of February practically, on March 18th, and then there's we don't do anything during March break. So March 18th is the Kadeen. You can take that offline, Kadeen. You can take that offline with June. Work with us on that, and then we will come back. But March 18 is the first working group, unless you want another date. If you want another date, speak to Mercy, and if you need another date, let us know. We can send out a message asking members if they want to join that date. With
Oh, it's
Katie.
not about the meeting. Nobody knows. Just now, very quick answer to this question. When is the due date?
Through you, Chair, let me take that one.
Yes, go ahead.
So
Thank you, Michelle.
usually the strategic planning usually takes place at the end of the school year, either May or June or in the fall. So the committee, when you meet, may want to explore what is the most strategic time to actually hold your strategic plan. And what that planning will entail is essentially the work of the committee. Did that answer your question?
Oh, okay. I just have a rough idea. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is not the actual go live strategic planning. It's the planning to the planning. Okay, June? Okay, where if you want to bring speaker in to help guide us. So this is almost like what special event is doing. You're doing this now for strategic planning. You can bring in speakers, see what your budget is like, work on, what's the format going to be when you do go live with it, invite, meal, all that good stuff. That's what you're planning now. So the planning for the planning. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right then. Okay. Sorry. And Zena, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, and then we ask for new business.
Just a short update, so board update of sorts, but more of a board-wide update. There is an event taking place actually this Thursday called Feel Good February, and that is put on by the Mental Health and Wellbeing Committee. That event should be on the TDSB calendar, actually, on the main calendar of the website, or the CSW. I always mess it up.
CSW.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But their hub website, and it's virtual, so you can enjoy that in the comfort of your own home.
Okay. Nadia, go ahead. You had your hand up.
Yeah, it's just about new ward updates. So ward 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, we had a mega ward forum collaborative of our trustees put together. Myself, Seema, Musa, Zeem, Tanya were in attendance. And apologies if someone else was in attendance, but we just didn't cross paths. So it was a really good ward forum. They also celebrated Tamil Heritage Month. So it was really nice to see things like that occurring. And it was nice for us PIAC reps to kind of connect and get together as well. And we were able to promote the event there as well. And connect with our trustees that were also in attendance. And also our school, my kids' elementary school, Fleming Public School, was also hosting the Tamil Heritage Month celebration with senior staff present. And so
good.
It was nice to see those type of things occurring.
Good. Good to hear.
Yeah, we're almost
And I
done here.
think Bruce here is a legacy. Oh no, you don't have your hand up. All right, so any new
They can't
business?
go beyond another
Are
10
we be able
minutes.
to? Can
They're
you
wrapping up.
mute?
Well, so you can get
Can you
ready
mute, please? I'm not sure who's on.
because you
Somebody.
have to go to work.
Mhm.
I
Is
already
it?
packed up your lunch. Let me go get ready then. 10 minutes. And I'm gonna put your lunch in the bag. Okay?
Apologies, Chair, the mute has taken place.
Sharon, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. Okay, new business? Thank you. New business?
Through you,
No.
Chair, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Go
new
ahead.
business, but a gentle reminder to all PIAC reps, starting in your March meeting, you are now shifting to hybrid. That was the agreement you've made. So your March meeting, your April meeting, your May meeting will be hybrid. What that means is we will be back in person at 5050 Yonge Street for the remainder of your meetings.
Okay, thank you. All right, so child minding will be provided as well as meal. Okay, so that will be
Through you,
always
Chair, child
present.
minding will be offered based on request, just simply because of the budgetary implication. So we say to PIAC reps, if you require child minding, we just ask that you let us know. So instead of us booking child minders that we're paying for, that will not be used or maximized. And I recognize your budget and mine are pretty tight at this time.
Yes. Okay. Nadia, speaking of that, Nadia, are you able to, when you do the budget, just see what PCCO had offered to help support our budget? Because that's to see what is
Yes.
it that we didn't have to pay for? To
Yes,
show
that's
that.
the
Okay, perfect.
yes, that's the
Perfect.
plan to show what the true cost would be.
Yes, true. Okay, thank you. All right, and I think number 16 is adjournment, is it? Oh, yeah.
This is a new hand
It's a new hand.
for
Oh, I
new
was
business. Sorry,
asking. I was asking. Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead.
I know because it wasn't for the word update. It's for the new business, but it's a
Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead for new business. Go ahead.
Just so Thursday is an orientation online. Is this to replace the one that was in January? Sorry.
Oh, you mean the PIAC orientation?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, there's always two orientation. One that PIAC does for their onboarding, and then there's one that is done by the TDSB through the PCCO about rules responsibility for PIAC itself. So on a normally both we kind of try to do it together, but this time we split it because we had that in person. Michelle, do you want to just quickly speak to that? And so we.
Through you, Chair. So the answer to your question, Bruce, is yes.
So okay, so this is the 22nd at what time? From Michelle? Michelle? Or is she?
Through you, Chair, we start at 6:30.
Oh, 6:30 to 8? Okay.
Yes.
Okay then.
Can I ask for a quick link in the chat then, please? I know it's in the email, but just in case.
Will do.
Okay. Or resend another email inviting, reminding the PIAC reps. Okay, please call.
I will be sending a separate email
Yeah.
for that, Chair.
So new reps, it's very important that you you participate so you can get an idea of what you signed up for, returning reps. And any reps that's been around for a while but just need a refresher, this is a very good meeting or training session to come to. That will help you a lot. You can ask a lot of questions there as well. Gonna attempt, I'll be there. So in without further ado, I have to keep to my less than 10, 3 minutes to go. I would like someone to motion for adjournment, please. Would
I'll
like
motion
to.
for adjournment. The motion.
I'll
second that.
Everybody speaks up.
So
We're
who
ready to
would like
go.
be recorded? Who will be recorded for the motion? Ward 4? Was it Jessica that said that? Or Ward 11? I'm not sure who did.
Ward 1 will motion it. Again.
Ward 1 and
Ward 11 and second.
All right. And without further ado, I wish you a very safe and wonderful week, and I appreciate all the efforts that you do. Remember, we're all volunteer parents. TDSB staff, thank you for staying on. Continue advocacy and continue with the strong voice. I really, really appreciate it. On behalf of Zena and I, thank you and good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Take care.
Have a good
Bye,
evening,
everybody.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Trustee McLean.
Good night.
Okay.